We're glad you're joining us. Broadcasting live from Chiapas, Mexico, I'm Acevedo, and it's 9:30 a.m. local time. We begin this morning with the latest national headlines and the stories making news across the country. Yesterday, the recall director of the DEA made an accusation that shocked the table. Without presenting public evidence, he claimed that high-ranking Mexican officials are working directly with cartels, and that some already been warned by Washington. In an interview with Univision, Gold not only pointed to government corruption, linking it to the Cartel Jalisco, but also opened the door to unilateral operation on Mexican soil and stated that the DEA will carry out any instruction from the U.S. president. If the goal is diplomatic pressure, he certainly achieved it. But if the goal is truth and accountability, he remarks sound more like a trouble warning. If it's serious, when the representative of the foreign agencies speak of officials being warned, while at the same time presenting no public charges, that turns suspicious in the political weapon and leaves Mexico under a cloud of doubt. Gold reaffirmed the offensive against the Sinaloa cartels and highlight coordination with Mexican authorities, including daily communication with Omar Garcia Harfuch, whom he called a trust partner. But a contradiction remains. Making accusation without public evidence creates distrust instead of building justice. If the war against cartels is also being fought through allegation, they should at least come with transparency and concrete charges. And the Felipe Ángeles International Airport was presented as the major answer to Mexico City's air traffic congestion. But 4 years later, the numbers leave one difficult question hanging in the air. Did it really accomplish its mission? The project was initially estimated at 45 billion pesos, but ultimately cost 150 billion, an increase of more than 53%. On top of that, there have been more than 5 billion pesos in operating subsidies, along with a planned allocation. Altogether, the Santa Lucia project has reached 103 billion. Meanwhile, the IFA remains far behind in passenger traffic. During the first half of 2026, it handled 3.6 million travelers, compared with nearly 22 million at the capital's airport. International cargo does represent an average of Santa Lucia, but much of that shift came after restrictions were imposed on Ivens. The congestion problem, then, appeared less solved than simply distributed. And Mexico's Secretary of Security and Citizen Protection, Omar Garcia Harfuch, drew a clear line against any possibility of foreign military intervention in Mexico. The Constitution does not allow it. His position comes as the United States continues to leave open the possibility of military action against drug trafficking. Garcia Harfuch says security cooperation with Donald Trump's administration continues and it's producing results, but strictly within the limits established by Mexican law. As an example, he pointed to the operation in which Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, was killed, which he said was planned and carried out by the Mexican Army. The official also defended the results of Claudia Sheinbaum's security strategy. He said that over 2 years, the daily average of homicide fell by 31%, while authorities also report thousands of clandestine drug laboratories dismantled, major drugs and weapon seizures, and the arrest of high-level criminal targets. The message is clear. Cooperation? Yes, but with limits. Mexican security, he insists, cannot become a field for foreign military operation. And today, Monday, the Commission Permanent of the Mexico's Congress will hold its final session, bringing the legislative recess to an end on August 31 and clearing the way for the new session period, which will begin on September 1st. Laura Itzel Castillo, president of both the Permanent Commission and the Senate, also confirmed that she will leave the upper chamber that same day to take over as head of the Secretary of Women, a position to which she has appointed by President Claudia Sheinbaum. Her seat will be taken by her alternate, Elizabeth Fiesco Diaz. During the final session, congressional committees will present their work reports, while parliamentary groups will review the activities carried out during the recess. Afterward, she caucus will meet to prepare their agendas for the new legislative period. Castillo also knows that on August 31, the Senate will elect this new governing board for the 3 years of the current legislative. The senator said that from the Secretary of Women, she will continue defending women's rights and promoting the feminist agenda. And now we head to the Yucatan Peninsula. The governor of Quintana Roo, Mara Lezama, led a strategic working meeting to define the model of the local ecological land management program for Benito Juárez and move forward sustainable territorial planning with a long-term vision. During the meeting, authorities from all 3 levels of government established a roadmap to complete this planning instrument, whose objective is to balance urban growth, infrastructure, and produce activities with the protection of natural resources. Among the priorities under consideration are the preservation of mangroves, aquifers, and other ecosystems through the municipality. Governor Mara Lezama emphasized that coordination among government authorities will make it possible to build a modern and transparent instrument aligned with the current needs of Benito Juárez. The strategy also seeks to provide greater legal certainty and strengthen environmental justice through criteria that can guide the municipality's development without setting aside the protection of its natural heritage. And now, continue with more news from the peninsula. Jessica Acevedo Quiroz, federal representative and president of the Citizen Security Commission, visited several neighborhoods across Merida, where she had the opportunity to hear firsthand the concern and proposal of local residents. During the visit, she shared with neighbors the newspaper focus on the national regeneration movement and the Mayan Renaissance, while also discussing the most urgent needs affecting each community. The legislator was accompanied by Representative Daniel Gonzalez, whom she thanked for his willingness to continue joining effort in support of Yucatan families. Acevedo Quiroz reiterated his commitment to keep traveling through the territory, listening to residents, and work closely with those who need support the most. The lawmaker also emphasized the importance of maintaining direct contact with communities and hearing their concerns on the ground, rather than limiting political work to office and legislative chamber. Thank you for opening the doors to us and for your trust, Acevedo Quiroz said, reaffirming her commitment to remain close to the people she represents. Stay with us. We continue with more news after the break.
Este 26 de agosto es un día especial para nosotros.
Después de mucho trabajo, preparación y dedicación,
OISHA finalmente abre sus puertas. Somos un espacio creado para cuidar de tu salud,
con atención, confianza y precisión en cada estudio.
Y estamos muy felices de formar parte de San Cristóbal de las Casas. Queremos que conozcas nuestras instalaciones,
a nuestro equipo
y todos los servicios que tenemos para ti.
Bienvenidos a OISHA Salud.
Y soporte especializado. Somos tu aliado para equipar las escuelas con productos de calidad y soluciones confiables. TCI Sistemas, tecnología y equipamiento a tu alcance. Visítanos en calle Niños Héroes, número 3E, en el Centro Histórico de San Cristóbal de las Casas. Contáctanos al 967-115-6175 y 967-131-3397. TCI Sistemas. Si es tecnología, es TCI Sistemas. Todo lo que tu escuela necesita en un solo lugar. TCI Sistemas, tecnología a tu alcance.
Invierte en tu futuro. Terrenos en venta con el clima perfecto, ubicados estratégicamente, con escritura pública. Disfruta del confort de vivir en un lugar tranquilo con acceso rápido a la ciudad. No esperes más. Haz de tu sueño una realidad. En Inmobiliaria Roca, más que inmuebles, decisiones con valor.
¿Listo para construir el futuro que deseas? En el Instituto Hispano Jaime Sabines te ofrecemos desde maternal, preescolar, primaria, secundaria, preparatoria, licenciaturas y maestrías. Instituto Hispano Jaime Sabines, formando valores para toda la vida.
Hace Impacto tiene la solución más sencilla y rápida que te puedas imaginar. Olvídate de complicaciones y maquinaria pesada. Con nuestro increíble asfalto en frío, solo necesitas de 3 herramientas básicas: una escoba para limpiar, un pisón para compactar y una palabra de adición para transformar tus vialidades. Así de fácil, en cuestión de minutos, ese molesto bache que te hacía perder tiempo y arriesgaba tu vehículo desaparecerá para siempre. La calidad duradera que Hace Impacto te ofrece es nuestro mayor compromiso. Queremos que disfrutes de caminos lisos y seguros sin largas esperas ni costosas reparaciones. Es tiempo de experimentar la magia del asfalto en frío de Hace Impacto. Para conocer más sobre esta solución revolucionaria y devolverle la fluidez a tus calles, contáctanos ahora mismo vía WhatsApp al 981-829-0201. Tu camino libre de baches está a un mensaje de distancia.
Soy Monserrat González y te invito a sintonizarnos en punto de las 8 de la mañana porque estamos transmitiendo en vivo a través de Facebook, Instagram y YouTube. Recuerda que nosotros somos ContraPeso Noticias.
En el Instituto Hispano Jaime Sabines acompañamos a tus hijos desde sus primeros pasos hasta su formación como jóvenes responsables y preparados. Aquí se construyen metas, sueños y decisiones importantes. Inscripciones abiertas. Escríbenos al 961-252-6507 o comunícate al 961-604-1541. Desde maternal hasta licenciaturas, maestrías y doctorados, Instituto Hispano Jaime Sabines, formando valores para toda la vida.
Los muebles que tú necesitas para escuelas, oficinas, laboratorios y comercios los encuentras en Giré Muebles. El mejor precio, servicio y calidad es nuestro distintivo. Cotice hoy mismo al 961-2127-068, por WhatsApp al 961-279-4168.
En este noticiero que sabe escuchar, desde la sierra llega el clamor. Se alza la noticia como un tambor. Montañas y ríos saben murmurar que lo importante aquí viene a...
El Instituto Hispano Jaime Sabines cambia de imagen, pero con la misma calidad, seguridad, plan de estudios y la mejor modalidad para que estudies con nosotros, ya que te ofrecemos desde maternal, preescolar, educación primaria, educación secundaria, educación preparatoria, licenciaturas, maestrías y especialidades. Porque en el Instituto Hispano Jaime Sabines construimos las bases de tu futuro, formamos líderes del mañana. Invierte en su...
Hola, mi nombre es Emilia Sánchez Lazos, formo parte del equipo de alianzas estratégicas del CRIT Chiapas y el día de hoy queremos invitarlos a ser parte del programa de crowdfunding Teletón, un programa en el cual puedes ser padrino o madrina de una necesidad específica de uno de nuestros niños en el centro. Actualmente tenemos más de 10 casos activos, desde estudios médicos como exomas hasta andaderas y algunos otros aditamentos que pueden cambiar la vida diaria de nuestros niños. Tu apoyo es lo más especial porque al final serás tú quien entregue el donativo y podrás conocer a la familia de tu ahijado o ahijada. Te invitamos a ser parte de este programa y poder ser el o la heroína de uno de nuestros niños. Para más información, no duden en contactarse con los datos del CRIT Chiapas que estarán apareciendo en pantalla. Muchísimas gracias por ser parte de esta familia Teletón.
Now, we look beyond Mexico and bring you an important international development. The trade war between the United States and Canada is entering a phase that could end up hitting consumers where it hurt most, their wallets. After a last-minute negotiation failed, Donald Trump imposed 30% tariff on roughly $20 billion worth of Canadian products, while Ottawa prepared $4 retaliation beginning September 8. The problem does not end inside government office. US companies will have to choose between paying the new tariff, running down existing inventories, or searching for alternative suppliers, a solution that does not necessarily guarantee lower prices. If Canada responds and Trump strikes back, the conflict could escalate even further. And the timing could hardly be worse. The war in Iran is already pushing up energy and transportation costs, leaving business with less room to absorb another blow. The impact could soon reach everyday products. Paper, cups, plates, and materials used for boxes are among those effects. So are wines, beer, and spirits, as well as milk, cheese, butter, and whey. The risk is clear. A trade dispute that began between governments could end up being paid for as supermarkets and business. And if the escalation continues, the question will no longer be how much it costs to import, but how much it will cost to live. And Brazil's first presidential debate began this Sunday in Sao Paulo with an image that was difficult to ignore. Two of the leading presidential contenders left their presidium empty. Luis Inácio Lula da Silva and Senator Flávio Bolsonaro chose not to attend, while Lula opted instead to give a televised interview scheduled for virtually at the same time. The absence for both candidates had already weakened the political weight of the debate, but the last-minute decision by former governor of Minas Gerais, Romeu Zema, thinned the field even further. Zema justified his withdrawal precisely because the two candidates with the largest audience were missing. As a result, the debate organized by Grupo Bandeirantes was reduced to 3 participants: Renan Santos, Ronaldo Caido, and Augusto Curi. The empty presidium, placed side by side, ultimately became the real protagonist. Santos took advantage of the moment to accuse Lula and Bolsonaro of being cowards and of disrespect Brazilian voters. And while the absent candidate avoided direct confrontation, the polls currently place Lula ahead with 39% compared with 33% of Flávio Bolsonaro. And Ayacucho is still trying to recover from the 7.2 magnitude earthquake that struck southern Peru last Thursday. 4 days later, the impact remains visible. Nearly 40,000 people affected, 3 injured, and 83 homes damaged, along with school, health centers, public spaces, and transportation routes. Faced with the situation, the Peruvian government declared a state of emergency this Sunday for 60 days in 4 districts of Parinacochas province and 1 district in Guanasancos. The measure is extended to allow an immediate response and rehabilitation work in the affected areas. The response will be coordinated by the Ayacucho regional government and local authorities, with support from civil defense institutions and several government ministries. Behind every damaged home are families now facing uncertainty. Behind every affected school are students whose return to normal life may have to wait. And through the emergency have been established for 60 days, those who lost their property recovery can hardly be measured by a calendar. The figure is reminder that for a population accustomed to living with seismic activity, being prepared is not optional. It can be the difference between simply reacting and protecting lives. And Reno is facing an emergency that is advancing rapidly, leaving less and less room to react. The hot fire in Nevada, which still is not reached a single point of containment, has already burned more areas and forced evacuation orders to expand nearly a lot of thousands of homes. Residents have been urged to leave areas at risk. The flames moved quickly toward neighborhoods in northeast Reno, driven by strong wind gusts, low humidity, and dry vegetation. Firefighters are battling the blaze, supported by tankers aircraft, while difficult conditions continue to complicate efforts to stop it. The fire has already destroyed structure and reached area containing medical facilities. Northwest Specialty Hospital began evacuating patients as a precaution, while the University of Nevada activated support for affected students. Governor Joe Lombardo declared a state of emergency in Washoe County and urged residents to immediately follow evacuation orders. Mayor Hillary Skirr was blunt. A home can be rebuilt, a life cannot. Although sheriff said the fire was caused by a human activity, the official cause remains undetermined. For now, Reno is watching the flames draw closer, and there is only one priority: get out before it is too late. And that brings us to the end of our international coverage. Thank you for trusting us to keep you informed. Have a wonderful day, and remember, this is ContraPeso Noticias.